Take 2 on the resume. Jonathan Fibonojji shares his resume. Again, I did this earlier and then, holy shit, I just didn't like the way the video came out. So I'm like, you know what, let's just redo it. That's the power of YouTube. You can see my legal name is Jonathan Spears. These are all my skill sets. I'll kind of go in this in detail. There you go, HR, 10 years, payroll, finance, basically. I did a lot of mortgage lending. In fact, I built a correspondent mortgage company. Do a lot of photography, 2 years, teaching, training, Python, student, sort of a, boom, there you go. Email me, americano417@gmail.com. So there you go. I'll send this to you in a Word document PDF if you want. But one thing that I've always done in my career, I think if you're going to hire somebody for regardless what position, you kind of got to know a little bit about them. That's one reason why I think the black and white resume is kind of full of shit, because you can kind of get, well, when I ran my company, I ran mylendingplace.com. We were kind of a fintech. We were a fintech for over 10 years. Kind of danced around with Google algorithms, all kinds of stuff like that. Grew it, boom, boom, boom. Dodd-Frank came in. Jonathan Fibonojji shares his resume. It's a little mortgage joke, but for real, for 10 years, I grew that company 9 out of 10 years. And I grew it from really virtually nothing to over 500,000. So I'm real proud to say that there are very few people you'll interview or talk to or meet in your lifetime that has actually built a company. Well, how many people do you know who built a company for 2 years? I mean, not daddy's company, not a franchise, built it from nothing for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. Boom, Jonathan Fibonojji, My Lending Place, for 10 years. We were a fintech before there was a word. So that's kind of who I am. That's kind of what I've done. But really the purpose of this resume, online resume, is really to kind of just say, I'd like to do something else. I like to kind of, what's my next challenge? Well, I say here I like to live in, I like nature cities like Hawaii, San Francisco, obviously Durango. So I moved out here to Durango 2 years ago. Learned to ski at 40. Of course, I was pursuing my passion, which was trading. And, I've been a trader for really 20 years, but I took that passion real seriously, and I taught myself to day trade, and it was epic. Loved it. Then boom, I said, well, I'm going to just go work for a hedge fund out in San Francisco. Guess what? They don't hire people from non-elite schools. Well, that's one thing I found. I mean, I didn't even get a fucking interview. But anyway, there you go, Jonathan Livingston Siegel. I'm also a photographer. In fact, I love photography. I would love to be like, that's kind of one of the things is I'm so good at finance and trading, but I also have other interests. And, obviously photography. Maybe to be like the next Ann Leibovitz, work for a Rolling Stone or, the new Rolling Stone, whatever that is. So there you go. It's my online resume. Just like this resume, a little unconventional, but hopefully impactful. In fact, I might start impact photography or maybe just HR, impact maybe some WordPress SEO, because on the backbone of mylendingplace.com, this finance company that I grew for 10 years, was learning how to navigate Google algorithm, commonly known as SEO. It's kind of an overused term, but I'm really a technology finance guy that loves to take pictures, tell a few jokes. So how do you get in contact with me? Email me, americano417@gmail.com, just like the coffee, americano417@gmail.com. And if you're like, Jonathan Fibonojji, that's the greatest resume I've ever seen in less than 5 minutes. Thank you for making my job easier. I'm like, well, that's what a CEO is, an entrepreneur. Jonathan Fibonojji. Boom. Email me, americano417@gmail.com. Boom. See, that was beautiful. Perfect. Thank you. See, a little fade out. Maybe I'll be the next documentarian. Boom. I love photography, but I'm also really good at calculators. So you make that call. Email me, americano417@gmail.com.